All right, everyone, it's about 11:03 Eastern time. That's where I am located. So we'll go ahead and get started. My name is Sarah Babe. I am the Education Services Coordinator at Bluum. I'd like to introduce to you Heidi Harvey. She will be kicking off our webinar this morning. Thanks for joining us. If you have any questions before I hand it over to you, Heidi, if you have any questions, feel free to pop it in the chat or raise a hand and I can put that speaker button on. We can't wait to chat with you this morning.
Good morning, everyone. We are sure happy you joined us today. This is a really relevant topic, and we're excited to share with you some ideas around addressing some of the pain points in travel today. Again, my name is Heidi. I'm with Bluum Technology. Many of you we met at either the Denver AAAE show or the Long Beach ACINA show and had a chance to talk there, or that you attended and we didn't have a chance to talk, but we were hopeful to share some of this interesting and relevant information to you. So thanks again for coming. My coworker, Kylene Donahue, is on the call as well. She is our Director of Digital Signage, and she is a part of the team here bringing this to you today. So we welcome her as well. But I'm really excited to introduce you to Phil Nelson. Phil is a partner of ours. He is the CEO of Mod Creative, and he will be really leading the discussion today and sharing with you about his product called Wayble, which is a beacon-free, AI-driven wayfinding solution. So thank you, Phil, for being here, and I'll turn it over to you.
That sounds great.
Can I interrupt real quick, Phil, before you start? I just wanted to let everybody know before I forgot that this webinar is being recorded. And you will be able to have a copy of it along with this presentation, concluding the webinar and a follow-up email. Thanks, Phil. Sorry for the interruption.
No, that sounds great. Thanks, Sarah. Appreciate that.
Sure.
And thank you, Heidi and Kylene, for inviting us to be a part of today and for being a partner here in Bluum Technology. So thanks for attending today. And we've been in this space for about 10 years. We're going to talk today about our product called Wayble. It's a digital concierge guest service, but it also incorporates wayfinding and location, so turn-by-turn directions. We'll actually do a live demonstration of it today, but it also addresses modern accessibility of how do we welcome everybody to our airports, to our transportation hubs, multiple languages, abilities, and how do we give them that friction-free transportation experience from home, through parking, to the gate, through transfers, and experience all the amenities that your airport has to offer them. And so our parent company, which I'm the CEO of, is Mod Creative. And it's a privilege for us to be able to work with Bluum Technologies. We've been a partner with Bluum Technologies for several years now on projects all over the country. And so it is a joy to be able to present today and to share what we're doing with Wayble. And also, as Heidi mentioned, we've been able to attend a few different shows and conferences with Heidi. So you might have met us in Denver or this few weeks ago in Long Beach as well at the ACI event. And so our background is we develop interactive products. They're tailor designed. We know that there's no two clients that are exactly the same. No two clients that have exactly the same business objectives and needs, and maybe even the same pain points or some commonalities, but we tailor them for each deployment. And what that means is we try to be very specific on how we help with success. So we're particular about each project that we work on because we want to make sure that each one's wildly successful and it's configured for you. We specialize in how do we as citizens and public, how do we interact with technology? And so our company, we work with a variety of public spaces, not just airports, but airports are a significant part of the business that we do. But we do things from transportation hubs, large universities, retail centers, healthcare, hospitals, stadiums, and the like, because we're the same people today when we're on this webinar as we are when we're flying out of our airport or when we're going to see a sporting event or a game. And so understanding how do we interact with technology? What's the easiest way to find the information that I need, which combines that with touch kiosks, mobile devices, digital signage, apps, and email and the like. And so we specialize in how does the public work with that? And one of the products that we're presenting today for you is Wayble. And Wayble is a beacon-free wayfinding. connected with this AI guest concierge and smart signage. So we get to actually, you probably have signage throughout your airport, and that's one of the things that we love partnering with Bluum Technology on, is the displays around. Is this allows you to actually supercharge the signage that you have already deployed or that you'd like to expand to, whether you have just a few screens or hundreds of screens. It helps you to connect that across. Well, when we travel today, whether you're working in an airport or not, we all utilize airports for transportation, and our travel starts at home. If you're like me, you probably fly out early in the morning, or you're flying back late at night, and you're trying to squeeze every minute out of that day, but also of your preparation. And so one of the questions was here is, what time do I have to leave home to get to my gate on time? That's the question, especially if I'm leaving early in the morning. Do I have to leave my house at 4:30 in the morning, or can I get an extra 30 minutes of preparation before I have to leave the house? Where's my flight? Is it on time? Where's the best place for me to park? Where's the shortest line for TSA? And also, once I'm there, I want to know where my gate is. And also, I want to know where can I get that cup of coffee that I need in the morning before I fly. And so what Wayble does is it provides this complete seamless travel. So whether I'm coming from home or I'm actually grabbing a connecting flight at a connecting airport that I may be familiar with or not, or if you're also experiencing renovations, sometimes our favorite airports are being renovated, and we want to be able to make sure we can still access those amenities, find our gates on time, as well as grab that bottle of water that we might need on the way. So Wayble actually connects you all the way through to experience this experience. So with Wayble, as it connects in with Digital Concierge, it's a smart assistant. We provide that information whether you're at home or on site at the airport, but we also give you that information about where do we connect into our concessions, where do we also have predictive for what's the best time for me to leave home, what's the best time for me to actually go through TSA, whether I'm pre-check or not pre-check. Actually, I find that sometimes early in the morning when I'm flying, the pre-check line is actually longer than the general line for it. So sometimes having that information, we can work with you and your clients and your airport to help streamline that and actually maximize that experience. The research has shown that as we all travel, our number one concern is we don't want to miss our flight. And so once we know where our gate is, and we know that our gate is, say, 30 feet ahead of us, then we might know, okay, we're going to board in about an hour. I have time to actually sit down and enjoy a meal and relax. Or I have time to actually pick up a few things from the retail options for my family or friends while I travel. And so we start to have a more enjoyable experience as we know our way around the airport and navigate. What I'd like to do is I'm going to play a short video here on Wayble, and this is going to focus even deeper into what we're doing with Wayfinding. As Heidi mentioned at the top of this, we offer turn-by-turn wayfinding and navigation inside and outside with 1 to 3 meter accuracy, but it requires no beacons, no hardware. So if you've explored wayfinding indoors in the past with the turn-by-turn navigation inside, what you've probably recognized is that you've had to deploy beacons every 20 square feet or so, which this can be costly in different sizes of airports and installations, costly to deploy, costly to maintain. It can actually make it cost prohibitive in some ways. And so our solution is a patented solution that doesn't require any additional hardware for that experience. And I'll play a short video for you.
Traveling can be a stressful experience. Redefine travel with advanced indoor navigation and powerful messaging tools that keep your customers connected throughout their journeys. Wayble's location-based solutions can optimize your transit station or airport and create a personalized travel experience for your passengers. Precise horizontal and vertical positioning, multi-building capabilities, and full accessibility support deliver an effortless and intuitive way for passengers to find essentials, such as ticketing kiosks, terminals, or gates. Wayble's targeted messaging platform allows you to communicate with travelers throughout key points of their commute, keeping them informed of schedule changes and other important information. Advanced location intelligence tools allow you to provide estimated travel time to desired indoor locations. And detailed heat maps help your facilities teams optimize routing and prevent bottlenecks. Enhance your passenger experience with Wayable powered by Mapsted.
Research that was done by McKinsey's organization actually did a research on the impact. Oh, here, I'll turn my camera on. I realized I was shut it off there to take a drink of water. Did an impact on revenue, and facilities that deployed digital signage combined with digital interactive wayfinding saw an increase of 6 to 10% in revenue. And so this is related to amenities such as your retail court, your food court, your kiosks throughout. As we find more time to enjoy these, as we find our safety and navigation. Our solution is, because it doesn't require any beacons, it's about a third the cost of actually our competitors for offering indoor turn-by-turn navigation. The other thing that I wanted to note here is research also showed that 70% of respondents said they're more likely to use a chat bot to provide them with wayfinding and digital signage than actually going to a person with a request for this. But I'll share a personal story from my experience with this as well. And you probably experience this in your location too, is when we go to an airport, just like if we go to a stadium or we go to a shopping center, anybody that looks like they work there is a target for questions. Those questions could be anything, such as where's the space for, for nursing moms, or where do I have my traveling with my pet, where can I take my pet for a walk, or questions such as where's the shortest line for TSA, or how do I find this terminal or this gate. I had a personal experience with this actually with leaving ACI this last event, where I had a traffic interruption on the 405, I believe out in LA. There was it was shut down, and actually took my Uber ride from being expected to be about 30 to 40 minutes to 2.5 hours. Got to the airport, was hoping I wouldn't miss the flight, and showed up in a terminal I wasn't familiar with where the TSA was. And actually there wasn't great signage to show where that check-in was. And so I was able to find an attendant that was actually waiting to escort with a wheelchair an individual. There wasn't anybody in the wheelchair yet, so I felt like I wasn't interrupting them. And I asked them where it was, and sure enough, they did know to guide me to that space. But what we found is about 80% of our staff and employees are exposed to questions every day with knowledge-based questions about amenities in airports. And with Wayable, we're able to equip everybody that's in this facility. And we'll show you what that looks like. But today it's harder than hard. It's becoming hard. One second. Apologize for that. Today it's harder than it's ever been before to find those quality personnel to bring that experience that knows our properties, that knows our airports and our locations, that knows them inside and out like the back of our hand. And yet, as travelers and as customers, all of us are having higher and increased expectations on our travel experience. We want to make sure it's tuned to us, that when we show up, that we can go through lines, shortest lines, find what we need, get to the flight, get on our flight, and get home safely. And so with Wayable, what we provide is enterprise knowledge. So enterprise knowledge is not Google knowledge, it's not open knowledge, it's not internet. I'm going to search for this knowledge. When I want to know what time my flight's coming in, I want accurate information. So this is information that's enterprise knowledge for your facility and for your client's facility. When I want to know about navigation, I can't always rely on maps that are public and open and even on the website, because with renovations, with changes of flights and traffic patterns, I want something that's accurate to me and it's validated and verified. And so what we specialize in is enterprise knowledge. Enterprise knowledge that can get to be displayed across all of your digital signage, but also enterprise knowledge that goes into the palm of your hand. Because it turns out that the most trusted screen in any venue, whether it's an airport, a university, a hospital, or stadium, is actually the one in your pocket. It's your mobile phone. It's your traveler's mobile phone. It's their guest. And so if we can bring this information not only on the screens, but also to the touch kiosk, but to the phone, we want to make sure that that's the most accurate information. So Wayble connects this information across this entire hierarchy. So we have the Wayble Assistant, which is like a digital concierge. Imagine going to a high-end hotel and you're asking, when can I make a reservation? What time are events open? It knows your preferences. It guides your travelers through from parking all the way through the gate with navigation. But we also integrate this with our insights and signals. It's analytics and reporting that supercharges your signage system, as well as mobile apps, your website, and SMS feeds. So based on what questions are people asking, we want to make sure we're putting that content out there. So I'll give it as an example like this. Is if we're throwing a party, and I know Heidi and Kylene have heard me share this story before. So if we're throwing a party, today's a little bit of a party. We wanted to make sure that you guys knew what time we were going to meet together, where the location was, so that you had access to the Zoom for today for the webinar. We wanted to make sure that you understood all the details of it. So if we're throwing a party, we invite you over to our office, we want to make sure you know where to park. We want to make sure that you know kind of what we're having for food options. We want to know what you might want for food. Maybe we'll let you know about kind of how to dress. And once you arrive, where the food is, where the drinks are, where the restrooms are, where you can socialize and enjoy. If we answer all of your questions before you arrive, we win as hosts and you have a more enjoyable experience. However, there's always elements where there's questions that we aren't able to communicate up front, maybe through signage and web and emails and communication channels. And that's what Wayble helps us do. Wayble helps us to see kind of our blind spots as well. Power the information and messages that you want to provide for travelers and for sponsors throughout your facility. But Wayble also provides information on what questions are people asking. If we're throwing a party, we might find that there's a lot of people asking, what's the entertainment? You know, is there music going to be here? And we go, oh, okay, this is some information that we're going to want to put out into our communication channels. And so I'll give you an example of that here with Wayble, and we'll actually do a live demonstration here of how Wayble works. So as I mentioned at the top here, the most trusted device in a person at any venue is the one that they're holding. So I'm going to actually screen mirror my mobile phone here over on the right. And so I'll touch that. That's going to open that to open chat and open wayfinding. Our UI here over on the right, these are just two buttons. They can be designed however you want. They can be put into your website, your client's website, a mobile app. They can even be embedded into an email, even text message links can connect into this. So it's super flexible. And so they can be designed for that. What's over on the left, this is kind of an example of digital signage. So if you're using a signage system with dynamic bulletins, this we're delivering here through a URL, but we can do this direct in and embedded in most carriers where we work with a variety of signage platforms for this. And it can be divided into zones for content area. And so this is just an example of some digital signage. And you'll actually see from time to time throughout the demo that this content will update based on what questions we're asking and what interaction we're having. I will pause here and just say, since we have this group and we're kind of focused around airport and travel, so we can present this. We work with stadiums and hospitals and university systems in the mix. But since we're all kind of in airport or transportation, if you do have specific questions, feel free to put those into the chat and we'll try to address those or even give examples for those during this presentation as well. So we can open this up. It can be labeled chat. It can be labeled digital concierge, smart assistant. We can work with your client and your brand. It does not require that you download a specific app for this. You can do this through a web browser. There is an enhanced version that does use mobile for providing that 1 to 3 meter accuracy, but this can be wayfinding that starts very much from conversational. So I'm going to ask a question. I'm just going to actually speak into my phone here and ask a question where my flight is. Can you tell me what gate my flight is leaving? Now, this is where I play a little bit of demo roulette because, let's start that one over because it read everything I was just saying because it is sometimes when you're going through. I looked at here at the beginning when I spoke it said fighters. So let's put this in here. Where is my flight? I'm going to connect in, and it's going to be bringing in data based on what flights are departing for me today. And it's telling me that my flight is leaving from Terminal 2, Gate 26. Now I can click on this link here, and this is actually going to open up to the maps for this airport, for this facility. So I can see exactly where this is within the facility. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit in here so I can see where it is. But this gets me only so much information. Now, if I'm in the airport, it's connected to the app. It gives me a blue dot, shows me exactly where I am so I can navigate to my gate. But if I'm at home and I haven't even left yet, let me ask and find out where's the best place for me to park that's closest to this terminal in this gate. Where's the best place? Oh, it's doing Tuesday again. Oh, let's do the speak here. Where should I park? Now it's going to take in information based on occupancy and open spaces. And as you saw here on the left, the signage actually changed based on the question. Now, we don't change it typically one-to-one. It works nice for a demo here with you so that we're not waiting for, a certain criteria people to ask question. But it's based on statistics and triggers that we work with you and the client based on your goals for signage and information. So in this situation, we're asking a question about parking. This percolates up to the top. We can send an alert and a trigger, a data analytic, or we can send live signage updates based on content from the questions that people are asking into Wayble for your property. So this isn't information for other properties or other airports in the area. This is for yours and information. So in this case, it's East Parking Lot Red. It tells me the number of spaces. And I can connect in. But now if I found my parking space, I want to know where's the shortest line for security. And our home airport, which I appreciate we fly out of all the time, is out of Minneapolis, is that there's a few different options for security as you're going through. And so for a chance to ask, in this case, I can ask it to an airport, going, where's the shortest line for security? Where's the shortest line for TSA? This will bring in occupancy sensors. Your facility might already have occupancy sensors that are deployed. If you do, in most cases, we can work with that data feed to actually come in and provide this information in real time for travelers to find the shortest line. Now, when we find the shortest line here, we're actually evening it out. You'll see that the areas that maybe have had longer waits will actually ease up as we as we navigate traffic to other entry points and security checkpoints. I shouldn't have had the coffee with the cream this morning, I think, before I started my presentation, so my apologies. You'll notice on the left that we updated a portion of the signage, that there was 2 zones that updated, one with security check-in times that's in the middle there. And then we also saw the graphic that updated. Now, in digital signage, as we work with Bluum and multiple different platforms, there's so much flexibility in the messages that you might want to update. So you might be updating just a portion of your signage, of your screen with information that's coming from this, just to illustrate what people need and where they need to go for this. So now if we find security, let's actually do a navigation from security. We're going to click on the map here, and we're going to navigate from security to the gate for departure. So we can click on navigate. And in navigate, we can select our routing options. Everything within our product is built for ADA compliance, and WCAG AA standard 2.1 is what our current version is. But if I click on accessibility, now it's going to route me to elevators. So I'll bypass stairs, I'll bypass escalators, and it's going to take me to elevators. Typically, when we work with a lot of airports, we preference escalators. That's usually one of the more efficient ways for getting large volumes of people through transportation, where they can usually move through with their carry-ons. However, for travelers that want to make sure that they can find that elevator that isn't always obvious in the most upfront locations, this allows for accessibility. We also allow them to do an itinerary or shortest route within it. So we're going to go through here, and I'm going to do a stop. So we're going to add a destination, and I believe it said our route was gate 26. And here I'll do a navigation for this. So we can do this from home. We can do navigation from the parking location, and we can do navigation within. If I'm on site and we're doing this through the mobile app solution, then this blue dot actually, as I travel, actually updates with me as I walk. So this is similar to when we're driving within our car, and we're maybe using Apple Maps or Google Maps or one of those solutions, and we come to an intersection and it tells me where I am and directs me in which way to go. This also provides that for you with turn-by-turn directions all the way through. It'll take you through your steps. In this case, it even takes me to the outdoor tram, and it takes me right to the gate for this location. Now, if I'm here, I might want to, I know where my gate is. I know how long it takes to get to my gate. I want to know, where do I grab my cup of coffee this morning? maybe a bottle of water that's related to it. So here I'll ask a question. Where can I find coffee? We can also work with your concessions and your teams. If you want to provide occupancy data that actually provides information on where the shortest line is for coffee and how you want to move people throughout your facility, we can do that as well. We had one client come to us and ask a question if it's possible to actually do notifications for when my flight leaves, so that their information allows them to shop a little longer, hang out in the restaurant a little bit longer, but can we also provide them with notifications of this flight is boarding? So we can do those type of notifications across signage, across public address systems. We can also integrate into your emergency alert protocols, your CAP messaging as well for your facility across signage and across your mobile devices. And when routing changes due to an emergency event, whether it's weather related, if your airport or your client's airport is in an area that might have hurricanes or tornadoes, and there's special areas for sheltering down, we can provide that information through navigation as well as through the digital concierge and connected to your signage so that everybody gets this information. Now, when you're traveling, sometimes we speak the language that's native in the airport, and sometimes we don't. And so we provide those translation services that happens through Wayble so they can get the information. They could scan a QR code on signage, they could hear the announcement, and it connects into the system for providing those translations as well to the system. There might be another question here. I'm at the gate. I want to make sure that I can find something at the airport. So I'm gonna play a little demo roulette here again, and I'm gonna ask Heidi, what's something that you might get? Maybe it's a concession thing, maybe it's from a retail store, but we're gonna ask it if it's at the airport. I can't guarantee that we have it in their enterprise data, but this will illustrate something for us either way.
Well, last time, didn't you say you had to find your glasses cleaner?
I did. The last time we were flying to an event together, I forgot to pack my eyeglass cleaner. And when I do demos like this and I don't have the eyeglass cleaner, you just see a fog over my eyes, right? So yeah, let me ask about that. Maybe I have that in here. I'm not sure. So where can I purchase eyeglass cleaner? Yeah, when I went, I checked a few different, oh, look at this. You can purchase eyeglass cleaner at the W.H. Smith retail store, and then that will actually connect me into the retail store. Yeah, one of the airports that we were traveling through on the way to an event, I forgot to pack my eyeglass cleaner, and there wasn't a solution like this. So I actually thought, well, I'll go to an electronics store. They might have a screen glass cleaner. I'll go to one of the other retail shops, and I wasn't able to find it. I didn't realize that Bluum was coming with a package of these eyeglass cleaner cloths. So I was totally taken care of. Heidi came through for us on this one. But we're able to locate information that we might need for each of these flights as we travel. So let me go back, and I'll even do one more illustration here. So we can deploy this across kiosks. So touch screen, interactive screens. What we prefer is, we've had some clients that come to us and said, well, you guys do so much in mobile. Can we just do a mobile deployment? There's a lot of strength in mobile, and you'll actually see a high percentage of usage off of mobile devices. However, one of the biggest things is, how do we make people aware of these solutions? So as we work with different airports, we can work with them, and even carriers for how those ticketing is offered. But digital signage is a significant factor in how communication goes out. So when we deploy a digital signage product, whether it's in government, airports, universities, or any of our verticals, you'll actually start seeing a lot more ways to transfer that to their mobile device. And one of the ways that a lot of people have learned to do this is through these QR codes that we have on the screen. So every kiosk allows you to bring that solution with you for that navigation. Let's go straight here, and we'll even ask a question. Actually, I'm going to clear this question because this might be cheating here a little bit. Kylene, I'm going to pull up here. We don't use Google Translate, but we're going to do a demonstration here with Google Translate and using some different languages. So I'm going to ask the question, where's the nearest restroom? But Kylene, I'm going to let you kind of pick what language we should ask this in. Now, not every language that Google Translate has do we have in our product. We have about 100. I think Google has more than that. But I'll put in the question, and then maybe Kylene, if you can tell me what language we should be using. Where is...
I did take a couple years of French, but so let's go with that.
Let's go with French. All right.
Yeah.
So we'll connect here to French. We'll copy this in. And so whether they're speaking French or they're asking and typing the question in another language, could be Arabic, French, across the board, it will search for those answers. So you may have your data and your knowledge for your signage and systems in one language, and then it goes across. Now, this one actually came through and it brought us back in English here. So I'm going to ask the same question, and I'm going to translate this one just a little bit more here for you. Let's go to, we'll do Italian. All right, and this one also gave us the translations back. And so we can click on this. They'll open it up for navigation. Again, when we do this within the facility, we know where the visitor is based on their location services, and we provide them with what's nearest to them. So now this is providing us with information that is nearest to our gate here. And so we are at gate 26, which is up here, and it's going to provide us with this information all the way down. We can also ask questions. If you're traveling, you might be traveling with some skis, you might be traveling some golf clubs, and you have some oversized baggage. So we can ask questions of, where can I pick up my golf clubs and baggage? And so we can answer all of these questions that are typically asked around. So in this case, it's going to connect us with the oversized baggage and provide us with navigation. You'll see here that we also updated signage. So as a flight comes in, there's more questions related to a flight, related to a certain baggage claim. And we can not just direct them to that number, we give them turn-by-turn directions, and we can update your content across the system. So what type of data can we bring in? It's structured and unstructured. There's certain things that you're going to find that's structured data. Think of this as your employee handbook information that you might give to all the employees of the airport of various levels that would answer questions, what to do in emergency, what to do for common guest procedures. But then there's also unstructured data. There's information that you just want to provide that doesn't fit neatly into any one area, but there's also streaming data. That streaming data could be, what gate is my flight leaving from? It could also be real-time reports on concessions and point of sales pricing. So if I want to know, well, how much is my cup of coffee? You know, where's the best place to go for this? We can do that as streaming information across the system. And it all goes into the single AI knowledge that funnels across the concierge, the wayfinding, and Pulse. One of the questions that sometimes we get asked is, how does this wayfinding work? We just deployed beacons across our facility. What does that mean for us? Well, we've been doing this for about 10 years. And so we understand the power of beacons. We also understand the expense that beacons are to deploy. We don't require beacons. However, if you do have beacons, it enhances the technology in our location services. It's not needed for that 1 to 3 meter accuracy, but it becomes another data touch point for our solution. So when we're doing a deployment with Wayble, we're actually listening with Wayble Wayfind, part of my maps, we're listening to about 40 to 50 different indicators on the iOS and Android devices. It's the ears of these devices that they're listening to, the different radio frequencies, the geomagnetism. When we're inside, we don't get access to satellites like you would for GPS outside. However, we do use a little bit of GPS even inside, even barometer, to tell a bit about elevation. And so through this, we don't need to have all 40 and 50 all the time, but we actually use that with AI algorithms to actually determine where is the user's location and actually what's the best path for them to go from point A to point B throughout their facility. So I'm going to play one last video here. This video is in a retail setting. It's showing the blue dot navigation as we're going through. Again, we're not touching any of the hardware in this mall. When we actually did early R&D here at Mod Creative with this, we did it with a local mall that actually they weren't even aware that we were doing some of the tests on the space because it was that lightweight. We didn't have to touch their IT, their technology, and actually we just appeared like we were mall walkers in their facility as we were doing a calibration. So let me just play this short video and it'll show you some of its accuracy. So you can select your location through chat. You can tap on a location off of the map. It knows where you are as you're walking through. We actually just finished a deployment with Bluum for another facility that was 6 buildings. So think of it could be 6 terminals, but this was a hospital campus that had 6 buildings, 18 floors, over 1 million square feet, and providing where to park and turn-by-turn directions throughout. So it knows what floor, updates automatically, and takes you directly to your destination. So I want to thank you guys for joining us today, letting us share a little bit of what Wayble's doing. We've been around for 10 years. It's been a pleasure to be connected with Bluum Technology for so many of those years doing projects. Their level of precision when it comes to project management and working with clients and understanding their needs and timelines makes them a great partner for us. One of the things that we emphasize in every project we do, and we're pretty selective on which projects we take on because we want to make sure that they're wildly successful, is people matter. And those people that matter, that's you, with your role, your responsibility, but also those that you're providing for. So whether those are the stakeholders or the travelers coming through your airport, every one of those individuals matters and their trip matters to us. And so that's one of the reasons that we enjoy working with Bluum on these type of projects and working with clients and partnered with them and their partners as well. So thank you so much for letting me be a part of this and share a little bit of Wayble. I put some information up on the screen. The same thing I say when we're in person is the most important person that you should reach out to is Heidi Harvey. She's our first point of contact for us. And if you reach out to us directly, we'll also connect you up with Heidi because we enjoy working with the team at Bluum. And we look forward to answering any questions that you might have. And if it makes sense, we'd love to do a one-on-one presentation that can be customized to your facility, your client project, and your airport travel, whether it's a small airport with just a couple gates, or you're running an international airport with multiples of terminals and hundreds of gates. We look forward to connecting with you and providing this enhanced experience for your travelers as well. So I'll hand it over to the Bluum team, and I'm happy to answer any questions and here to serve. Thank you.
Thanks, Phil. We actually do have a question in our Q&A section for you to answer. And it says, hi, so no airport map is required. Is the blue dot native to the device OS or part of the app?
That's a great question. So the no airport map is required. So for us to do the maps, we actually work with you on gathering the floor plans. So based on the floor plans, you can provide those as architectural drawings. Those can be also the maps that you might currently even have on your website, or maps that were provided to your emergency services teams. And then what we'll do is we will digitize those maps to provide for navigation and wayfinding. So there are maps that we want to make sure that we're setting up for you and are created. And then the transportation. So if you want us to provide blue dot navigation, it needs to be part of a mobile app to get access to all the servers. So which mobile app? We provide a free mobile app, Wayble. There's about 450,000 locations within our Wayble app worldwide. And so there's a variety of places, whether it's car rentals, coffee shops, retails, airports, other locations like that. But we don't require you to put it into the Wayble app. So if you have a mobile app for your facilities or your clients, or a carrier app, we can put it into there through our SDK as well. If you want to provide a mobile solution that doesn't require any app download, you can do it just like we did here. You can open this up and it can be through a web URL. When it's through a web URL, it's going to provide directions like we demonstrated here from point A to point B with the blue line, but it doesn't pick up on the user location all along the way. So it can provide that navigation from where did I park to where do I need to go, but the user will need to input those endpoints for that. Does that help answer the question? If not, we're happy to connect one-on-one for that too.
Definitely. We have another question, Phil. You showed accessibility features for wayfinding purposes. Does your app also work for someone who is blind?
That's a great question too. Yeah, so our navigation solution through iOS and Android, when it's done through a mobile app, it does provide text to speech. So it can provide those turn-by-turn directions with text to speech. It does also interact with most ADA solutions on iOS and Android for speech input and navigation for WCAG, which the standard here in the States for WCAG AA 2.1 does mean that they're able to navigate all of our user interfaces through voice.
Thank you. Thanks for the questions, everyone.
And I'll add something on top of that, actually, because I gave you kind of that's our standard thing. But so I'm CEO of Mod Creative, and it was several years ago that the revelation came through one of our designers who has a daughter that's actually part of Special Olympics, and would really kind of bring things to light. And one of the things in our designs early on became really evident is that when we create products that work for everybody, it's actually a better product for everybody. And in some software solutions, ADA becomes an afterthought and WCAG becomes an afterthought. For us, it's actually in the front of our design. If we design a great product that works for those who are visually impaired, or even in a wheelchair, or even mobility impaired with things, we're actually creating a better product for everyone. And so that's at the forefront, and that's also part of our values of people matter. We've had the privilege over the 10 years to create deep friendships with many of our clients because of that. We want to make sure that as we work with you, that we become a champion of your goals and your objectives. And part of that is, how do you create environments that welcome everybody to your airport, whether they speak a different language or they have different physical abilities as well? And that's our heart on that. So
awesome. Thank you so much, Phil. If there's any other questions, feel free to pop them in that Q&A feature or in the chat. If you think of some other questions later on today or later on in the week, feel free to reach out to Heidi or Phil. We really appreciate you all for joining us this morning. It was great to be able to chat with you. Like I said in the beginning, you will be receiving a copy of the video recording of today's session, along with the presentation and some other resources. So be on the lookout for that coming soon. Talk soon.
Thank you.